Eala heads to Melbourne for Kooyong Classic. Manila, Philippines. Eala will play in her final build-up for the Australian Open at the Kooyong Classic in Melbourne. The exhibition tournament is set from January 13th to 15th. The field also includes retired netter and now commentator Daniela Hantuchova, as well as world number 121 Priscilla Hahn of Australia and number 69 Dana Vekic of Croatia. Eala and Vekic just battled at the ASB Classic round of 32 last Tuesday, with Eala eking out a come-from-behind win, 4-6, 6-4, 6-4. After the Kooyong Classic, Eala will make her Australian Open debut on January 18. Eala heads to Melbourne for the Kooyong Classic. The early morning sun cast long golden streaks over Manila's airport runway, illuminating a sky that seemed eager, almost expectant. Eala stood at the departure gate, her tennis bag slung over her shoulder like a loyal companion. The world of professional tennis had always been a distant dream to many, but for her, it was the next step, the first chapter of a story she had been writing with every serve, every forehand, every long, grueling practice session. Today, that story led her to Melbourne, Australia, for the prestigious Kooyong Classic, a tournament that had seen the likes of legends gracing its courts. Emma's eyes flicked to her phone. A text from her coach blinked. "Time to show the world your fire, Emma. Melbourne awaits." She smiled, a mix of nervousness and excitement twisting inside her chest. The Kooyong Classic wasn't just another tournament, it was a stage. And like any stage, it demanded respect, preparation, and courage. The flight was long, stretching across hours and oceans, yet Emma spent much of it imagining the blue courts of Kooyong, the green surrounds, the crowd that would cheer and scrutinize every movement. She thought about the players she'd face, some household names, others emerging like her, hungry and hungry-eyed. Her mind wandered, as it often did before a big match, between strategy and dream. She envisioned herself stepping onto the court, racket in hand, feeling the familiar hum of anticipation in her veins. Landing in Melbourne was like stepping into another world. The city was alive with a buzz only sporting capitals seemed to carry during tournament season. Fans streamed into streets, cafes displayed tennis posters, and the air carried a crisp, almost electric energy. Emma's team guided her through the airport, navigating her through press checks and formalities. She barely had time to absorb the sheer scale of it all before a car whisked her away toward her temporary home, a hotel close to the tournament grounds. The Kooyong Classic held a certain mystique, Emma knew. It wasn't just about the matches themselves. It was the legacy. Kooyong had hosted the Australian Open before Melbourne Park came into play, and the walls seemed to whisper stories of past champions, their victories and heartbreaks etched into the very courts. Stepping onto the practice courts the day before her first match, Emma felt a tingle of reverence. She bounced the ball lightly, testing her rhythm. The sound, thwack, thwack, resonated with the pulse of history around her. Practice was grueling but necessary. Emma drilled her serves, perfecting spin, speed, and placement. Her coach called out corrections, adjustments, encouragement. "Keep your left shoulder forward on your forehand, Emma. Eyes on the ball. Move with intention." She listened, absorbed, and repeated, knowing every minute on the practice court mattered more than the bright lights of match day. Evenings in Melbourne brought their own charm. The city's streets glimmered with neon, cafes buzzed with laughter, and somewhere, not far from the hotel, a tram hummed past, carrying locals and visitors alike. Emma took it all in quietly, allowing herself a moment to breathe, to feel the journey she had undertaken. Tennis, after all, was a lonely sport in many ways. The pressure often fell squarely on the shoulders of one individual. But there was beauty in that solitude, in the focus it demanded. Match day arrived with all the subtle tension of a storm about to break. Emma awoke early, muscles tight but ready, nerves fluttering like butterflies. Breakfast was a quiet affair, oatmeal, fruit, and the mental rehearsal of every serve, every volley. She dressed in her kit, lacing her shoes with deliberate care, every knot a silent promise to herself. Play hard, stay sharp, stay calm. The Kooyong Classic court gleamed under the Australian sun, and Emma stepped onto it with a mix of reverence and determination. Cameras flashed, fans cheered, and in that moment, The world seemed to narrow to the space between the baseline and the net. Her first opponent was a seasoned player, someone with years more experience, but Emma felt no fear, only respect and focus. The match was a dance of skill, strategy, and mental toughness. Emma ran, slid, struck, and countered with the precision of someone who had trained relentlessly for this moment. Points were exchanged, the crowd holding its breath at every rally. She felt the familiar surge of adrenaline as she served, each ace a tiny declaration of intent. Somewhere in the middle of the match, fatigue threatened, but Emma reminded herself why she was here. For the love of the game, for the challenge, for the thrill of pushing herself beyond limits. By the final set, sweat dripping, heart pounding, Emma realized she wasn't just playing a match. She was creating a memory, carving her name into the unfolding story of Kooyong. Every shot told a story, every movement reflected her journey from courts in Manila to one of tennis's most revered stages. When the final point was played, whether victory or defeat, Emma felt a surge of pride. She had come, she had competed, and she had grown. The Kooyong Classic was not merely a tournament, it was a proving ground, a place where emerging talents tested their mettle against the best. And Emma had proven herself, not only to the crowd, to the cameras, or to the world of tennis, but to herself. As she walked off the court, water bottle in hand, towel around her neck, Emma allowed herself a small smile. Melbourne had welcomed her with open arms, and she had answered with heart, grit, and grace. She knew this was only the beginning. Kooyong had tested her, and she had risen to the challenge. Now, the journey continued, grand slams, ranking points, titles, but this moment, this match, this city, would always remain a shining milestone in her career. That evening, as the city lights reflected off the Yarra River and the sounds of Melbourne hummed softly, Emma sat quietly in her hotel room, racket resting against the wall. She wrote a small note in her journal. Kooyong taught me patience, courage, and the joy of the fight. Melbourne, thank you for the memories. This is only the start. And as sleep claimed her, dreams of blue courts, cheering crowds, and the endless thrill of tennis carried her gently into the night. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new matches, new victories, and Emma Eala would meet them all with the same determination that had brought her to Melbourne in the first place. This version clocks in at roughly 1,000 to 1,200 words, so there's room to expand with more backstory, match details, or inner thoughts to approach 2,000 words if needed. If you want, I can create a full-length 2,000-word version with detailed matches, rivalries, Melbourne city life, and press interactions, keeping it immersive and cinematic. Do you want me to expand it to that full version?